I sat transfixed as I watched the moments that led to my friend Peterson's death. As I watched what he had sent me through the neuron cortex device, it felt as if I was him and was watching him also. I saw him suit up and leave the shuttle, and for a long time he was happily repairing the damage to the ship, when all of a sudden he must have felt something, and skywards he looked, and before he could move away, a piece of meteorite hit him, plunging him to the side of the ship. His eyes faded in and out as he regained consciousness, and there his eyes spotted the meteorite, as a substance seeped out of it, and was to slide to a place he couldn't fully see, as he moved further back to be able to view the path of this substance. He realized that the destination was him. Inside his ear was a long strand, spindling down to the meteorite, and as he pushed it forward, he could feel it wriggling further down inside his body. I sat through the rest, as I felt the time where he became both Peterson and Peterson's creature. I felt the mind of this substance, which purpose was to breathe through matter it came upon. Saw the moments inside the shuttle, and at all times felt Peterson struggling to regain supremacy over his own body, but he could feel the losing battle clearly. He saw the time when the creature was caged, and he felt the moments that Peterson took, final time, to be himself before he was no more, as he placed his face against the glass and looked to his friend one last time. And in that moment he sent his neuron cortex recording, leaving an emotional feeling for me to feel, of love and warmth and happiness, with the words, "Dear friend, goodbye." And I felt the continued anguish as he fell deep within the creature's makeup and was no more. I spent the rest of the day staring out of the portal, looking at the black depth and space that engulfed the capsule, but all I could project in front of me was my friend Peterson's final moments. Several times that day I revisited his neuron cortex message and would pause it on the last clear view of his face, but I could no longer recognize it as the friend I had known. I felt his anguish and pain as if I was him. I experienced the feeling of his unique death over and over again, his sadness as he himself thought of the moments that made up his life, his family, his friends, small insignificant moments to me, yet those which he chose to remember one last time. But these quiet moments to myself had reassured my decision of putting everyone in cryogenics was the best solution till we reached Mars. So I went and addressed everyone. It was met with a lot of discussion, but I was in no mood for that. So most of the time I spent it shouting them down with orders, as I was the captain of this shuttle. So my final words were the only commands they needed to obey. First, the struggling Jake Henry was placed into the long chamber. I set the dial to return us to life when the computer got landing permission from the Mars base, or within the time frame I felt was enough time for Mars to have been reached or in a state of emergency. Everyone watched as his heartbeat and brainwave pattern slowed, as he became cold and still and struggled and made noise no more. One by one, the rest of them were frozen until it was my time. And I set my emergency time to come first, as I didn't want anyone else to be out before I was. And with it, I set on automatic timer. I walked myself into the unit and closed the door behind me. There was no one for me to look at for some peace of mind. As the chamber became colder, no one to help me if it went wrong, or to force me to stay. I had to do it all on my own, and slowly I began to feel the cold in my heart and mind, and I was still cold and frozen till I couldn't think no more. The 7 chambers next to each other remained silent, and the light within them went off, and it was dark. And for many moments there was no noise, until the wheelchair of Ken Wakeman started to move on its own. There was no one in it, and within the dark shadows of the cryogenic room, a shape of a hand moved away from the chair.